Living Faith Kids.
Daily Devotions for Africa.
Tune in every day at 6 a.m., 6:45 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 12 noon, 1:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8:30 p.m. Only at CAPUCHIN TV.
Living faith draws us to God. Children of God, friends to Jesus. Good faith, good light, good back to God. God loves children, grow in faith.
This is to help kids grow in faith, wisdom, and develop a habit of daily prayers and build their relationship with Jesus Christ and church.
Living faith draws us to God. Children of God, friends to Jesus. Good faith, good light, good back to God. God loves children, grow in faith.
Train the young in the way they should go, even when old, they will not swerve from it. Living Faith Kids.
Daily Devotions for Africa.
Dear fellow Catholic men, we are happy to inform you that there is a Catholic Men Association handbook in circulation. This handbook was approved for publication and distribution by His Grace Archbishop Philip Anyolo, while he was the Bishop of Homa Bay Diocese in the year 2020. This book is a true masterpiece that deserves a place in the hearts of every Catholic man. Topics covered in this book include the role of laymen in the Catholic Church, spiritual growth, role of PPC members, among others. The book is available countrywide at major Catholic bookshops. Gift yourself a copy, gift a friend a copy, or gift your spouse a copy at only 500 Kenyan shillings. For more information,
It is exactly 6 minutes past 8 a.m. East African time. Good morning. You are right on time for the Youth Discourse Life and Family Advocacy right here on CAPUCHIN TV. Now, in a world where life's challenges can seem overwhelmingly strong, shaking the very vital family bonds and the pillars, there is dire need for a voice of hope, one that will initiate the much needed change for survival. But what exactly are these contemporary dilemmas of life facing students, and how exactly do you as a youth cope amid all this chaos? This is exactly the rationale behind the Youth Discourse, a special program brought to you by Capuchin Television Network in partnership with LifeSite, that is a Canadian Catholic conservative anti-abortion advocacy website and news publication. And with me in studio are students and a student leader here. I'll allow them to introduce themselves before we delve deep into our discussion today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for making time for this. This is a true definition of a gender balance because we have
Exactly.
2 gentlemen and 2 ladies.
Yeah.
If only this could be replicated in all spheres of life, then we wouldn't be having the push and pull on gender.
Yeah.
So I'll start on my right-hand side. Please introduce yourself to the view.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I go by the name Vincent Orlando, and I am a student at the University of Nairobi. I'm taking political science, and I am a second year also, a leader in the university. And again, I'm here today courtesy of Empowered Youth Coalition. Yeah, and I represent television media engagement. Thank you.
Thank you for creating time for this conversation. Now we move on to the lady.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Purity Ndinda Mulo. I'm a student at the University of Nairobi, and I'm taking journalism and media studies, majoring in development communication. Also a leader in the Empowered Youth Coalition Students Chapter as a chairperson of the media team. And I'm very grateful to be here today. Yes.
Thank you for making time for the conversation. Yes, so I can see that there's something that is similar, that we're having leaders, which is quite a positive thing for youths to take leadership roles in our communities today. And to Tobias, please tell us who you are, and also briefly, in a minute, just brief us about, because being the regional coordinator of the Empowered Youth Coalition, what it's all about.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. My name is Tobias Nauruki. I'm the Empowered Youth Coalition Africa Regional Coordinator. As you clearly stated, Empowered Youth Coalition is a coalition of different organizations, institutions, like-minded individuals, and organizations across the world. It is majorly unites the young people, bringing them together to stand for life and family, especially at this time where the young people are still struggling to be able to understand themselves, and with the gender affirming issues coming on board in different sectors, especially targeting the youth in universities. So that's why today the Empowered Youth Coalition globally, both in Africa region, the United States of America, in Europe, Australia, and Asia, we thought, let's have a platform where the young people can be able to discuss, speak, share, and be able to learn also from the elderly people, the professionals, and the experts in different fields, both from medical, academia, engineering, and other spectrum of different professional backgrounds, to be able to help them to align on what is needed for them to grow and be formed, mentored, be good families of tomorrow. Yeah.
Great, so thank you for that introductory remark, and welcome Tobias and the team. They are the voices of change, the youth, the advocates for love, unity, and understanding. So welcome aboard this intriguing journey where we are going to discuss some untold stories that unfold on education and challenges students face today in universities and colleges. This is a real time as we delve deep, just to show you how the power of youth discourse takes center stage. As it is the tradition, just feel free to weigh in on the conversation with comments and in the form of questions and commendation, and we'll get to sample some of them as and when time allows. We are live concurrently on our social media platforms, that is CAPUCHIN TV, social media Podia, and our number remains 0717-424-866. The SMS line is 21760. So drop your queries, and we are going to get this so interactive. So right on, let's start with the first question.
We are alive to the fact that the world is changing rapidly, and so are the institutions of learning and the people. So we cannot actually equate the present day obstacles with what we witnessed, probably what our parents or great-grandparents went through in colleges. So what are the most prevalent challenges for university students in this time and era? Let me start with Orlando.
Thank you. To begin with, I want to speak on behalf of my fellow comrades from all the universities in this country. And I'm so grateful that I got this opportunity today to air out what is going on in different institutions. Yeah. So first of all, one of the very biggest challenges that most students face in the universities is financial problems. Yeah. So you find that comrade, okay, in the university, we have a title called comradeship. So, comrades power. So, you find most of comrades are undergoing financial challenges, and they don't have necessary ways or various platforms where they can channel their issues into. So, recent research which I did as a student, and also I got from experience from my fellow peers, they've been saying that life gets tough whenever they're in campus, and most of those who stay in hostels. You know, in hostels, students that stays there are first years, most of them, and now that the COVID-19 came, nowadays we have online and physical learning. So first years are in school, and also third years are in school. So those who are in school face a lot of challenges. One of them being how they can get food for 3 meals a day. Get it? So you find a comrade, badala ya kukula 3 meals in a day, comrade anainama lunch, anainama breakfast, then anakula supper. Okay. So the term kuinama simply means going without meal. And that is a very serious challenge, by the way, to the students. So you find a comrade first year, very new to the university, doesn't know what to do or even where to go to whenever they have such kind of difficulty. They don't even know their leaders, maybe. So, anainama lunch, anakula supper peke yake. Na tena there's high cost of living. Most particularly in University of Nairobi main campus. So the life there is tough to an extent that if you don't have someone to support you, life becomes so difficult for you. So, yeah. So the only thing that I can say or air out here is that any parent who is listening right now could at least ensure that their children or their, you see,
those who are under the care of guardians.
Yeah,
so parents and guardians. But before we get to that, let's get to hear from the other two guests. What challenges besides the financial burden have you experienced as a student, Purity?
Yeah, I'll talk about the transitioning part. When you're transitioning from high school, going to campus, you usually have these really high hopes, high expectations. There in high school, you're told about the university, utaenda huko, and then after you graduate, you'll get jobs very fast, and then you come here and the wings that they had, you know, they have given you wings when you're high school. They are clipped by the reality check you get when you get to the university. You realize that the degree alone won't help you that much. Unaambiwa there's something called connections, you have to network, and people do not know how to transition, how to find the right networks, how to find the correct connections for you, and that becomes a challenge. You find that during the course of the 4 years, you also become demoralized. You don't know if you're doing the right thing. Am I doing the right course? Am I supposed to drop out? Am I supposed to do something else? And that becomes a problem, really. Yes.
Thank you, Purity. There's uncertainties of the choices,
Yes.
career choices that you've made, and then of course life is totally different from
Yes.
being spoon-fed with everything to just yourself. Now you have the freedom.
Yes.
You have to organize yourself, self-organization, learning.
Yes.
And as I get to Tobias, you know, the number of challenges are quite many, and some of them vary regionally, because you cannot compare the life in the cost of living in Nairobi with Eldoret or Marsabit or anywhere in Kenya. But as you give us point out these challenges, we've also had, especially in the tertiary level of education, people lament about academic pressures. How do these academic pressures impact on the mental well-being of university students?
Yeah, academic pressures start from even high school. When a student is transitioning to Form 4, like the ones who are preparing to sit exams now, they are under pressure, and you find sometimes that those who are missing meals at the moment, preparing seriously for exams. The same applies to a comrade in campus, either you are in college or in a KMTC, either in Kenya or any other university in the region of Africa or outside. So normally these, as you said, academic pressure leads to mental health issues. And but to give an example, citing from what the comrades have said in their university level, a comrade who's not well prepared, still in the transition era, just joined university in first year, you've been walking all the way the entire semester without identifying a class. You use, the comrades can attest to you. I was a comrade, and while the first day in university, I paid 1,000 shillings to buy a portal. A university portal to help me to be able to locate the classes, to be able to locate the units I'm supposed to do, when it is free to download on the Google Play Store. At that time, when you're still struggling to get a portal, to get the direction to where the classes are, you're losing time. So when exams come, either cuts, you have missed classes, you won't see the exam. So you develop mental issues. Towards the end of the semester, you ought to prepare and sit the exam. And you can't sit an exam without notes. So by the time you're preparing for that exam, you're looking for notes, you miss 2 to 3 weeks towards the exam, you can't be able to sit an exam. And the moment you fail the first exam, you feel demoralized. So academic pressure now comes in and now makes you to feel like you're out of order, you're lost. You start to think about your parents, paying school fees to study, but you've been missing classes because of non-essential issues, which would have been able to sort out when you would have identified yourself the right people or the right direction to find where you're supposed to be. So academic pressures are real, not only in campus alone, in colleges as well, and KMTCs, and this is cutting across the entire region of Africa. And this is an appeal to all the comrades. While joining the university, the first day may be a very hard day, but the moment you identify yourself which direction are you supposed to go, you'll find yourself in the right path. But also, without forgetting the parents. Some parents are good, some are not. You take your student, your child, your son or daughter to university, and then you leave your comrade to remain there. When a comrade, as they have said, miss lunch, miss breakfast, miss dinner, academic pressure comes in because they can't sit in class without food. A comrade who wakes up in the morning, you have a 7 o'clock class, but you're still thinking about the breakfast, supper, and lunch you miss yesterday, you will doze off in class. So you develop mental illness. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Naoki Tobias. And that issue is partly on the part of the administration, because I understand that during orientation, that is when all the students are supposed to receive login credentials to the portal, so that it's swift transition. When the semester begins, everyone knows what can access the announcements and everything, class program and all that. Now, with what we've been witnessing among young people, very bizarre stories of hacking each other, even hacking your own child, a young mother. So this is an indication of mental health issues that most of them sprout from different cases among youth. So allow me to remain on the same mental health. Orlando mentioned that one of the precursors of mental turmoil in tertiary level of education is financial strain of students. Now, how does this burden in higher education contribute to mental distress among students? And are there any strategies that can the universities can implement to assuage this? Let's start with the lady this time round.
Okay, when we talk about mental issues and what really causes that, you see, when we talk about something like, let's talk about the transitioning I talked about. If, for example, you find yourself in such a situation and you need help, really, universities do have those mental, the counseling sessions. But you find out, actually, I didn't find out that in our university we do have such offices, but I didn't know about them. So the point where they have to tell the students that we do have these offices and we are open for you, they should also be student friendly for those students, for them to be able to go there and feel comfortable while talking about our problems. Another thing is the orientations. We do have orientation in the universities. So what we do during the first day they are reporting, we usually have students positioned around the campus. So we call them, are you a Catholic, are you a CU member, SDA, Muslim? So you meet your friends and you're oriented into a group where in that group you get to meet new friends, you make a new family, and they help you really go around campus quite easily, and you get to avoid a lot of problems, especially the problems that comes with the freedom, a lot of freedom and the financial issues, because most of the times you find, like in my group, we have the Catholic community group. We usually have meetings every week, every day of the week, and the point ya kuinama, you won't hautainama supper because we have refreshments. Yes, we have refreshments. Yes, so those are some of the things we do for them. Yeah. So, yes.
So Orlando, what is your take about whatever institutions that are there in colleges and universities that deal with mental issues?
Thank you. First of all, I want to appreciate my university, that is University of Nairobi. Though it hasn't done that much, but it has tried. It's level-based, and I hope it will continue doing what is necessary for students. So when it comes to financial problems and mental issues, our university has come up with an initiative where we have work-study program. So the needy students have been given opportunity to work as they pursue
they study.
So pale students, if you are needy, the administration has taken care of you to some extent, but they should, I heard, and it is something that is going on, that they're not doing what is necessary, but they should do what is necessary to the students. That is when it comes to payment. Yeah. So they should work on that. Yeah, so those needy students, when they come apply for the work-study program, kindly they should get the payment. Yeah, so the payment delay, so it doesn't go according to the way you had planned. And another thing is that, as mentioned by Purity, Catholic community offers students more so wale ambao wanainama, but I don't say like, I don't mean all those who go to those events ni wale ambao wanainama, but ukienda hapo like on Thursdays we usually have pro-life meetings. So in that meeting there is refreshments at night. So it is 100% guaranteed that each and every Thursday you have to have something hata kama umekosa pesa, unaona? So it's something that my university has really worked on very well, but I really look forward that it will improve.
There's room for improvement.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Orlando, for that. And I believe the message is home. Now, back to you now, Roki. To what extent does the social environment contribute to the hurdles that university students endure? And how do students effectively express their apprehensions in this context?
Well, thank you so much. In the university setting, the university management set up a platform for students to air their issues. At the university, we have the Dean of Students. Under the Dean of Students, we have now the student leadership. The student leadership who come from the students themselves, they campaign, vote, and they elect their leaders. So this student platforms gives the students a social environment where they can be able to speak to their colleagues, air their issues, and their student leaders who represent them in Senate be able to present their issues. Most universities, both in Kenya and across the continent, whom I've interacted with, still face challenges where their colleagues whom they elected, some don't represent what they believe should be represented at the Senate, so that their lecturers, the management of the university can be able to take to account those issues and be able to tackle them. But the most pressing issue apparently at universities, where I was a comrade as well, is relationship issues. Today, students are taking much of their time and freedom to engage in a girl-boy relationship, which is affecting, yes, it is a social issue and it is, yes, good, but in a negative way at the moment today. From the recent past 3 years, reports have shown most comrades are losing their life because stabbing each other. Using an example of my brother Orlando, if we are in the same university, let's say in dating a lady whom we both of us don't know. The moment we will get to know, either of us will have to lose or the lady will lose. So when it comes to that extent, the social environment becomes hostile, and you find a comrade not settled in class to do her studies well. The university will also be stressed, and when the university is stressed, students will have to strike because one of them has lost his or her life. Then also on the social aspect as well, you find students don't find time and an avenue to air their issues. Some student centers, the dean of students offices are hostile to them. And even the counseling, as Purity has said, some counseling centers are not made aware of by the students. So on the social aspect, you find a student dropping a suggestion in the suggestion box that is picked and tagged or banned and no action is taken. So students start to feel they are not well set, they're not well accommodated at the university. And now the only way they can find, and the only place they can find relief is at the chaplaincies, either the Christian Union or the Catholic chaplaincies or the Muslim community. So the social environment at the university is 50-50, depending on how a comrade himself takes it either in a positive way or negative way. If you take it in a positive way, you are safe. The negative way, you find yourself rough.
Thank you very much, Tobias Nauruki. Now, Alan from Kitale says, asante sana, wana CAPUCHIN show iko poa sana. Thank you, Alan from Kitale. Daniel from Kaewa Machakos, tuned in. Thank you. Wakiare from Kayola is also tuned in. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or contribution towards this conversation, feel free to do that. My director says it's time to take a breather, but we'll be right back shortly with more on this conversation. So do stay with us.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
To get Lord's Prayer as your Skiza tune, send Skiza followed by code 738-102-64 and send it to 811.
La misión está en el corazón de la iglesia. Y más aún, cuando una iglesia está en sínodo, solamente esa dinámica sinodal la lleva adelante la vocación misionera, es decir, la respuesta al mandato de Jesús de anunciar el Evangelio. Quisiera recordar que aquí no se acaba nada, sino que aquí continúa un camino eclesial. Se trata de un camino que recorremos como los discípulos de Maús, escuchando al Señor que siempre sale a nuestro encuentro. Es el Señor de la sorpresa. Por medio de la oración y el discernimiento, el Espíritu Santo nos ayuda a realizar el apostolado del oído, o sea, escuchar con los oídos de Dios para poder hablar con la palabra de Dios. Y así nos acercamos al corazón de Cristo, del que brota nuestra misión y la voz que atrae hacia Él. Una voz que nos descubre el centro de la misión, que es llegar a todos, buscar a todos, acoger a todos y buscar a todos sin excluir a nadie. Oremos por la Iglesia, para que adopte la escucha y el diálogo como estilo de vida a todos los niveles, dejándose guiar por la fuerza del Espíritu Santo hacia las periferias del mundo.
Welcome back. This is Youth Discourse Life and Family Advocacy Program right here on CAPUCHIN TV. We are glad that you're still keeping tabs with us, and for those sending feedback, keep them coming. And we are discussing education challenges for students in this contemporary world. In colleges, that is, and universities. And with me in studio is Tobias Nauruki, a regional coordinator of the Empowered Youth Coalition. I also have Purity Ndinda, a student from University of Nairobi, and another comrade, Vincent Orlando. Welcome back to the second session.
Thank you.
Yeah, so before we get to the coping mechanisms of stress among students, there are those who are international students, and we have had a rising number of students enrolling for international institutions of learning, which is a positive stride, by the way. But the fact remains that they are not immune to these stress and challenges. Because in any case, it gets even tougher in a foreign land. So with aspects of culture shock, cost of living and all that. So what hurdles do international students face, and how can the relevant ministries and universities address this or help them to circumvent these challenges? Tobias.
Yeah. Let me speak from the angle of also, I'm an international student taking my a postgraduate course apparently. Yeah, today most international students, besides the comrades at the local universities here in Kenya, face their challenges are totally different, especially those who study on campus. One, culture shock, language barrier. You are going in a foreign country where you know no one. Before you start interacting and making friends at that campus, it takes a whole year to be able to get to mingle, identify, and be able to be in friendship with so many other comrades whom you don't know. Some using languages you don't know, like French language for those who have not studied French, and also Belgium if you are in a foreign country where languages are totally different from where you come from. Another challenge most comrades are facing outside the universities is lack of enough funds to sustain themselves in their hostels, wherever they are staying, and some with the lack school fees. Universities outside here, they have strenuous protocols to be followed. If you miss to pay school fees, you may not be able to attend classes. That leads to depression. And besides depression, you find out that some students now are ejected out of their universities or hostels if they don't have money to pay for accommodation. So you find yourself in between a rock. And for you to be able to come back to the country where you come from, it takes time again to follow through the foreign ministry or either through the embassies to be able to handle your issue. So an appeal to the comrades who are studying outside. It takes time for you to adjust. It takes time for a comrade outside there to be able to align the curriculum of the university, either in different courses they are taking. But how can you be able to handle this? That's why before you opt to study outside, there's need for you to notify the country, which university, which country, which course you're going to study, and what are the programs you're going to go through. Besides even the curriculum you're studying, there are so many other indoctrination issues to do with life and family that we are talking about. You'll be indoctrinated into LGBTQ agenda, that is homosexuality and lesbianism by force, for you to be able to survive. And this is a serious issue, especially when you are in a university where these issues are tolerated. So for you to be able to survive, you ought to. And if you refuse, you are chased back at home. And how can you be able to come back at home if you don't have a flight ticket? So for us to be able to handle these issues, when you go through the relevant protocols from the country where you're coming from, either Kenya, Uganda, wherever, and then through the embassy of your country in the country you're going to, is very important for you to handle this. And also liaising the parents.
Yeah, thank you very much. The aspect of LGBTQ, perhaps we might find time, because it's quite a very complex subject of discussion, but for now, let's shelve it. All right, I would like to know if we have a first generation student among you, the three of you. Do we?
First generation.
Okay, first generation student.
Personally, I understand the meaning.
Like,
first generation means that in your family or in your background, you are the very first person to attend university.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. Sorry, Purity. Absolutely, that's right. So none of you is a first generation student.
But I can talk about it.
Okay, so please tell us, are there specific challenges for the first generation college students?
Yes, there are numerous challenges for first generation students.
The ones that are so specific to them.
Yeah. So you find that when a first generation student come to the university for the very first time, you see, this comes from the background. This first generation student comes from the family of, most of them come from the family of humble background families. In quotes, So when they come to the campus, they get it tough for them to an extent that they don't have spaces or even necessary ways of airing their issues. So one of the challenges they face is the one that I talked about before, that is financial problem. And another thing, even the guidance. You see, you are the very first person to come to the university. You don't even have a brother. You've never been to that place before. So it is your very first encounter to interact with your fellow students. So you find it challenging. You see, you don't even know who to contact whenever you need assistance. And another thing is this first generation student, they do not have where they can channel their views. But I think the best thing that universities should do for, as per now, is to create a platform whereby even the first generation students should create a platform where they come together as one. They identify themselves among the students and create groups where they can socialize, share their stories, and also interact and also get to know much more of what is going on in the university.
That's quite paramount, because by sharing somehow you get relieved, and at least you feel you are not alone. And again, the family is always where you fall back. Even when you go to work or to school or wherever, you're always looking forward to get back. But if there is no one who quite relates to the kind of life you are in the entire family, then it can create a cognitive dissonance. I had, Naruki, you have something to add on to that?
I'd like to resonate with my brother by saying first generation comrades, students, wherever, it relates to the same way when you are traveling somewhere you've never been. You're going in a world where things are totally different from the way you thought and also the way your parents have. So they have high expectations from their parents. That's a key among us, in addition to what my brother said, challenges they're facing. Then also aligning with the status quo of the university becomes another big challenge, because you are entering a world where things you are thinking to do are not the same way you're supposed to do at that time. So it becomes so hard to first of all resonate, adjust, and be able to align. And before you start classes, it takes time as well, because you buy books, and at university you're supposed to. I had a friend of mine who was a first generation comrade from his family. He came with the 64-page books at school with a pencil, a pen, a whole set of, it's like you're going to high school. And then you're going to a chemistry class, where you're only required to have a pyro pen and yes, a pencil is required and other tools. He came with I don't know. He came with a metal box, which is also understandable. So colleagues started to laugh at him. So he faced a challenge of demoralization, rejection, because he's unique. He's unique in such a way, the way the parents treated him going to high school, the same way they want to treat him coming to university, which is totally different. So adjusting becomes a challenge. To the first generation comrades, either in first year now or second year, life in university is simple. Live your life. Don't look at what people say, as long as you focus on what you want to gain at university. Sometimes it takes time to be able to please everyone, to be happy for you, but at the moment, please yourself first, then think about tomorrow. Then you'll adjust later on. You don't have to live other people's life. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. You have something?
Yeah, just to add on top of that. You see, the first generation students, I will advise you, if at all you are getting me right now, form groups, see how you can socialize, and also because this like it is real, and those students are really most of them are depressed because wanapata watu wanapiga luku shule, like unataka kukaa hiyo maisha na si yako, unaona. So another thing that ningependa sana niambie students ambao are first generation is that bro, Amasis. Do not live beyond your means. Yeah, just roll on the budget. I'm always being advised to roll on the budget. So, as a first generation, live within your means. If you have small pocket money or upkeep, just utilize it well. Do not buy fancy clothes or expensive clothes just to impress a fellow comrade. Yeah, ishi tu maisha yako tu. Yeah.
Thank you, Orlando and Nauruki, for shedding more light on first generation students and for that advice. I know there are some institutions, especially international colleges and universities, which give priority to first generation students for scholarships. So there are vast opportunities out there. You can tap on them. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic, now that the gentlemen have explicated on the first generation students, now let me get back to Purity. COVID-19 pandemic ushered in a hefty shift in our lives. Water linguistics coined the new normal. Now, how do the combination of remote learning, because I understand most colleges right now, either they even have full online programs, some of them it's partial, so you can opt to take some courses or units online and others physically. How has this combination of these affected or impacted on the life of students? Is it in a positive or a negative way?
Yeah, we have both negative and positive. I'll take myself as an example. When I reported to the university, I reported in 2020, I only had like a month of physical classes. Then we had to go back home for the COVID-19 break, and we had to take online classes. Now, first of all, some students do not have the let's say, yes, the gadgets to get to class. You need a laptop or a smartphone. And then you're living in the remote areas of this country where you cannot get network. So they found that as a challenge really to get into class. So they're missing classes, they're not getting what other people are learning. That's one of the problems. Then another thing is, after the introduction of the online classes, people have become less innovative, I would say that, because mtu ako class and then because no one is watching you. The laptop is on, but you're on social media, maybe TikTok, and you're doing other things. And then due to that, we are doing online exams, and you know the drill of that. You go and search for the answers, and we are losing the innovativeness of the youth. Today, people are not using their brains to think, and we are really getting what I would call the losing generation, really. People are not thinking for themselves. They're letting the AIs think for themselves, and it's really a challenge. And then the positive part of it is now we are spending less, because if you're at home, you're not commuting, you're not using transport, you're not paying for housing. So that money is being saved for something else, and you can also get part-time jobs during that time, because maybe you have a class in the morning, then after that you get to go and work. Yeah, so I think it's both a positive and a negative thing.
Thank you very much, Purity, for that. Now I can see, yes, please, Orlando, briefly.
Thank you once again. Another thing I wanted to add,
when it comes to COVID-19 challenges with the situation that we have currently, is that you see, when it comes to online learning, honestly speaking, and this is reality, those who are in second year currently, that is me, and those are in fourth year are in University of Nairobi are attending classes online. So you see, most of students wako nyumbani, and some wame rent nje. So you find that unaona hii time una spend peke yako, you become lonely. Another thing, you become isolated. When this comes in, depression inaingia ndani, you become stressed up. And to a student, this is really not something healthy for you. You need to interact with your peers as well. So ukikaa nyumbani, bro, my sister, you are really missing a lot. And I would really urge, if uko nyumbani, be at home, but ensure that you are in close contact with your peers. You interact on a daily basis, so that you don't lose the contact.
Thank you very much, Orlando. And I'm told our time is up, and there are a few questions, but in the form of parting shots, I'll give a minute each to just shed some light on that. And there is a question of how palpable are the institutions or chapels, pastoral centers, and all these institutions in addressing issues or the challenges that students face. And then we have one on how the effective avenues, probably Tobias, you can fill us in on that. How can university create safe spaces for students? But I'll start let me start with Orlando, then to Purity, and then Tobias. Kindly 1 minute exactly, so that we don't eat into the other program's time. So tell us about the effectiveness of these institutions that have been established to address some of these challenges that students face. From your point of view, are they effective? Is there something that should be done to make them better or more effective in addressing the issues?
Thank you. Yes, the challenges that students are facing are so many, and I would really recommend, from my own view, that the institution that we are in take bold measure or action to help these students that are really going through a lot. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you, Orlando. And to you, Purity, how can students cope with these challenges on their personal levels now without involving the institutions, especially the challenges of lacking some of the basic needs and rejection, especially in the cycle of relationships?
Okay, on the point of the rejections, I would say look for the people who resonate with you, really. Don't try to fit in every situation. You want to be here, you think it's the best. No. And also, you have to seek for help. Sometimes you can never do it alone. You have to seek for help from others. You have to have mentors. We have mentors. You have to have a mentor. You can also look for your lecturers if you feel like, maybe for the part where you feel like, is this course really going to help me? You have to look for people who have done the same thing and see if that's going to help you, really. They have good advices. And also, you have to remember that challenges are part of life. Without them, you're never going to grow. And for you to grow to that level, you also have to really have goals and know how to reach those goals.
Thank you, Purity. In a few seconds, Tobias, please tell us what spaces or platforms should universities maximize on or invest in to address student challenges in the contemporary world?
I think the university should invest much in conferences and support the student departments, that's the student centers. Also invest in counseling departments and give students freedom through their student leaderships to have their issues aired. Then also creating space for mentorship programs that the university will have. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tobias Nauruki, Purity Linda, and Orlando Vincent for your time. And we have to call it a wrap right now. Time is against us. How I wish we had more time because there's quite a lot to discuss on this subject. But we can always create time in future to do the same. So we appreciate your time and your leadership, your charisma. Continue doing what you're doing best towards improving university or college life for students. All right, I appreciate all those who took their time to watch and for those who sent their feedback, but you have to end it right now. But we wish also to appreciate the team, the camera person, Charles Marvaton. On sound we had Eric Otieno, and then Samuel Cherubor and Pauline on a visual mixing. And okay, so we appreciate all those that are participated in one way or the other towards making this successful, and more importantly, the Capuchin television team in partnership with undergraduates, we were encouraged to smile to even the strangers because there were rising cases of suicide. You never know how much or how far that smile can go.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.